What is up, everybody? Amaryx here, and welcome to a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer personal story video. So in this video, I'm explaining about my first job experiences at CC's Pizza. At this job experience of CC's Pizza, it wasn't a very pleasant one, so it varies in your location. So please don't take this experience for granted for all CC's Pizzas. This is just my personal experience. It all varies on your location. So further on due, I will describe my story in the videos. Okay, so I wanted a job to have some spending money, and I needed one quickly. So I went on snagajob.com and applied at a few areas that are able for kids my age. I was only 18 and I just needed a job. So when I did apply at snagajob.com, the first place to call me was, oh, what do you know? CC's Pizza. CC's Pizza wanted me to come in for a interview about the next day after I applied. So during the interview went by okay. I was asked the generic personal experience questions, and then they wanted me to ask questions about them. So eventually I did, and I got hired pretty much. So the next day I went in for the interview, and things went by okay. The manager asked me the generic personal experience questions about what I have for the job, and I answered them professionally, and I told him about my interest and everything. But there was a big red flag on when I asked one of the personal questions. When I went to ask the manager if the workplace was safe, he gave me this look like I was like he was hiding something. It was a weird experience. I have no idea how to really explain it, but it was just straight up not very good. Look on his face, and it was just a big red flag, and I should have known, but I guess I didn't. And I just go ahead and got hired, and I went ahead and took the job. So on my first day of work, it was okay. I got to learn how to bus tables and clean. That was the position I was put in. I was put in just to clean, sweep, and just bus tables, even when it's busy. But the weird part about this restaurant was, for some reason, you expect the manager to at least train you on the first day. No, they have for some reason, the busters trained me, and I don't know why. Like, the busters trained me on the first day, and it was just, usually the manager does, and I was just confused, but I went along with it, and I still did the job. So then I caught on pretty quickly how to use the tables and how to do the dishes and load them up and all that stuff. So a week is into my work shifts, and I was getting about decent hours of 30 to 35 hours on my first couple weeks, mainly the first week. But then I've noticed after about the first week, I still realized that the manager has yet to train me. I was just getting trained by the employees, and the manager just expects me to know everything with the employees, even though the employees aren't necessarily training me with every single thing. Like, it was weird. Like, normally you get everything trained within a couple weeks, but it's just for some reason I got in trouble for not stocking him napkins, and at that time I was not in training for the napkins yet, and it was just, I guess the employees were going by too slow, but for some reason the manager was relying way too much on the employees, and I thought it was just overall ridiculous. On my first day on the closing shift, I've realized a lot of weird things go on when you close. Like, yeah, you do the ordinary, you follow the list or the rule bulletin board. Pretty much there's a little list that knows everything you need to do to close. You need to sweep, mop, pretty much do anything. Buses are required to stay and sweep. But what was really awkward was, for some reason, the manager, I'm not sure if it was him, but he had like some hardcore OCD problems. Like, one peck of little like smudge that a normal person wouldn't be able to notice, but he notices. He would just get mad at you and just tell you to clean it up and just do everything his way, which is normal, but he was just like being really demanding and controlling about the littlest things in terms of dirty stuff. So I eventually did do that. I also was cleaning up the dishes a little bit, and I was also mopping the floors. That was also required. But here's what made me mad so much. It was, I think, a Wednesday night, and no one has ever trained me to floor deck that night, because I haven't really floor decked at all, because it was my first job ever. He got mad at me for not scrubbing hard enough when I was already scrubbing at like a really good pace, the best I could, and he got mad at me, and he took the mop away from me, or the floor deck, excuse me, and he's straight up says, "You're a high school graduate, right? Act like it." And it was like, that was just totally uncalled for, and it was just unexpected, because he could have just been nice and helped me, but he did try to help me, but he did it in an extremely rude manner, and I just didn't like that very much. It just ticked me off, and it was just such a horrible night for the first closing shift. So on my last day of the training shift, I had to close again, but no one had to tell me, like no one couldn't tell me what to do or anything. I had to learn everything on my own, which was fine. But the thing that made me mad was I felt like I wasn't trained properly because the manager didn't even, not even once, try to train with me at all, and it was just such a pain in the ass. So I went to ask the manager and ask if he could train me for any of the days, because I felt like since he's the manager, he should know what he's doing, and he should train me, because I felt like the employees weren't training me properly, and they obviously were to not tell me everything that I needed to know. But for some reason, when I did go ask him for him to train me, he gave me this biggest freaking look on my face like I was stupid and like I wasn't listening and I wasn't cooperative with my employees. He just got really weird, and he just got really defensive and upset at me only because I just didn't get trained quote unquote properly. But for some reason, I guess he just thought it wasn't cooperating. It was just like whatever. So I just went on ahead and just listened to the employees on their horrible training procedures and just went on further on do. So the very next day after all that stuff happened, I went in for just my last shift of the week, and for some reason, they only gave me only one busser for me to bus, which wasn't a big deal, but it was on a really busy day, and the manager knew about it, and they, for some reason, refused to bring in another busser that day. So I had to do like a crap load of work on like busing, which I understand it's a job, but I'm just saying that since it was like packed everywhere, like kids were making messes, the game rooms were dirty, pretty much had to do a lot of table cleaning, which is just way too much for one person to handle, because this size of the store is not like really dinky. It was about pretty large. It at least needed about 2 or 3 busters to bust the whole store, but it was just such a big pain just to do all that within like a 6-hour period, all consistently, and when the manager is also pressuring me. Just everything about that situation was just really hard, and it was just a big pain, and I was just heavy breathing from all the stress, and I'm just trying to deal with it. Before he even hired me, I have told him that my multitasking skills may struggle because I'm just not very good at it. And there's just that type of people in the world that just struggle with multitasking. I apparently end up being one of those people. And he just said, we'll work something around it. But then he acts like that I have no problems with any multitasking, and I should just do everything in a proper, clean fashion because of corporate rules. So after my last closing shift of that week, the manager was getting upset with me because I was being too slow when I was the only one there, because I had to close by myself too with him, and it was just such a big pain in the ass. It was just straight up pretty much just vacuum, do the dishes, clean the kitchen, just pretty much do everything possible. Like 8 people's work in one person, which was a big pain. And the manager didn't even seem to help me with anything either. It was just such a stressful situation. He wanted me out like an hour after my shift was over, and it was just I was just exhausted when I got home after that night, and then I got to have my first 3 days off of that shift. After my days off from the last night shift for that week, I came into the store, and Ray had pulled me aside before I even started my shift, and he was getting upset, telling me that this would be my last closing shift, and he told me that I'll cut down 3 to 6 hours because I quote unquote need to earn it when I'm like the only one doing everything, and it was just such a pain in the ass. So he just straight up just cut my hours in half, and I was just really furious. Like when I got home, I was just furious about my hours being cut because I really wanted money, and he just pretty much didn't appreciate my hard working effort from whatever I'm trying to work with. It wasn't even a month, and I was already feeling miserable. So what I decided to do is just wait out for month or two to make sure to see if it gets any better. And after about 1 month, it just didn't work anymore, and I just had enough. I was feeling down all the time. I was always feeling disappointed when I get home and stressed, and just didn't feel always unhappy when I came home and just mistreated. So after 1 month, I decided, you know what, I decided to tell him I quit because Pretty much it just wasn't a very fun experience at all. After about a week, I just felt miserable, bossed around like mistreated, like a slave almost. It just felt horrible. After I got my last checks from quitting and I told my parents about the horrible situation that was going on at my work and how the manager treated me, the funny part was a few weeks later, he decided to resign because my mom turned him into the corporate many times and he was getting multiple complaints and phone calls. So it wasn't just me that was just getting these situations and just experiences from this horrible job. So the funny part was he resigned shortly after because it was just pretty much he got terminated, and it was hilarious and I was so happy. Okay, this was my first ever personal story, so if it was okay or if you didn't like it, just let me know. If you like it, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, just dislike it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the whole video, and I will see you guys next time. If you want me to do more of these, just let me know. So peace out, everybody, and have a great day.